Welcome to the Two Steps Ahead podcast, starring Robert Sean McGrew and Raul Ruiz, talking business, strategy, and growth, helping you stay 2 steps ahead. Let's get to work.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Two Steps Ahead podcast. I'm Robert Sean McGrew.
And I'm Raul Ruiz.
And we thank you for joining us again. Now, we're still pedaling along, trying to figure this thing out, right?
Yeah, we sure are.
And so all of you out there who've been doing this for years, and this is like your thing, props to you because we're still definitely in the learning process. One of the things that we've learned about through this too is, of course, planning. That's a big thing. So we're going to get on that topic today. But before we get in there, we want to give props to the Rendezvous Junction. If you haven't been here, and this is located in Rogers, Arkansas. It's a great facility. They make and brew their own stuff here. Raul's got a good taste of it going on right there. Got an upstairs, downstairs, and it's just a good venue. And if you're a big soccer fan, this is definitely one of the places to be around towns.
Yeah, they've got really good beer. This one here that I'm trying is the Golden Ale, which is for the soccer team, right?
That's right.
What's the name of the soccer team?
Ozark United FC. So
there you go. Absolutely. They have that. And they also have a really good Onyx Coffee beer as well. So I definitely recommend that. Try it if you're ever here.
Well, lots of things have been going on. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of what we're going to talk about planning today, what happened with your weekend, bro? How was your weekend?
Oh, it was a pretty good weekend. Did a lot of drinking for St. Patty's Day on Saturday and Sunday. Was actually here on Sunday. And then we actually went across the street over to Natural State Brewery as well. So it was a good weekend. I actually also got my kilt, which I was not able to put on, but I will put on here in the next couple of months in Vegas at EDC. So that's something here I got coming up here pretty soon.
All right, you guys, you heard it first. Raul in a kilt, and we're going to hold you to it, man.
That's right.
So, all right.
Might be a little tight, but I'll make it fit. I'll make it fit.
All right. We're looking forward to that. My weekend was, kind of chill, but lots of wind, man. These winds have been crazy. And even today, before we got into this podcast, I swear there's like 50-mile-an-hour winds out there just blowing around. Now it's getting cold. I don't know if it's spring or winter or, summer. It's depending on the day and the time, it changes. And here in Arkansas, we're used to it.
Yeah, it's 50 degrees right now. So it's not a warm afternoon to say the least. Plus, let me go ahead and say something. If you guys know what this is a Chicago Cubs hat. I'm a diehard Cubby fan. I bleed blue. And I will tell you that the last 2 days, yesterday and today, I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning to see the Tokyo series. So if you know what I'm talking about, Cubs lost, by the way. Yeah.
I have a very good stat. It's all good. But we, springtime is to our theme today on planning. So, for our home, we've been planning. We actually went to a garden, like a full garden. I'm still working on it. We've got things set up, and I've got to put the dirt and stuff in there. But we've gone over the last couple of years with my kids. We started with seeding, learning how to sprout. Last year, we actually grew some stuff in some pots and stuff. And this year, we're actually going pledged into a garden bed in the backyard.
That's awesome. We do the same thing every year. We do jalapenos. We do tomatoes. Gets us through the winter. With salsa.
Now you're talking. Yeah. Now you're talking. Definitely.
Absolutely.
So we hope to catch up with you. And then we'll have to trade salsa. So,
oh, yeah. Yeah.
There'll be another episode down the road.
For sure.
So, but the point is that, things can't happen without the planning. And so we've been planning it for a while, but now we're actually executing and building there. We're doing some other house projects as well. And, springtime is just a good time to start spring cleaning and starting to do some of those things that you've said you're going to do and that you haven't actually got. So holding yourself accountable is also part of that too. So with planning, how can people plan better? Why is a plan important, Raul? Why do we need a plan?
Well, let me tell you, I've been married for 30 plus years, and I am actually the planner in the family. So I'm the one that stays up at night doing the reservations for the hotel, doing the reservations for anything we're going to do throughout our trip. So planning is very important, definitely in the personal life and in professional life, right? Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So, I will tell you that I love to plan because it's something that you have to do on a regular basis. It's going to go ahead and get you prepared to do what you have to do during the week, during the month. It prepares you physically, mentally. It gets you there.
Well, a lot of people are like plans, man, who needs a, I just going to fly by the wing, do it by whatever means necessary, and I'm spontaneous. So why do I have a plan?
Because
Well, because you heard it first, folks. Just because.
no, I will say that, I have done the spur of the moment thing. I've done things, concerts, I've
Absolutely,
done different venues and things of that nature that I just, let's do it. Why not? Right? You only live once. That's what they say. Well, basically, you only die once. That's really the truth of it.
That is the truth.
But as far as planning, planning will make things go a little smoother. And if something does happen, if there's a bump on the road, you're more than likely prepared for it because now you know what you have to do to get to the next step.
So talking about that, I like the analogy that you only die once and we live daily, right? We're blessed to have another breath and live another day, right? And so sometimes people say that's just enough and I'll get through whatever comes my way. And that's okay to an extent, but having a plan in place, and whether it's personal, business, school, church, wherever you're at, having a plan is important. And one of the things that I always tell my kids is, having a plan of what you're going to do that gets you further and sometimes faster. The fastness, the quickness isn't always the best and necessary, but at least you know where you're headed. A perfect, simple thing. You wake up in the morning, right? What do you have to do? Well, there's a plan in place, right?
Right.
Yeah. You gotta brush your teeth. You gotta take a piss. You gotta, grab, a shower. You gotta decide what clothes you're going to wear. So those things take a little bit of planning. Yes. Sometimes it's the most spontaneous what do it. But those steps, you probably do the same every day, right? So that's part of a plan. That's dumbing it down really simple and stuff. But sometimes people don't look at it that way, but it's necessary.
That is so true. That is so true. Ever since I was a kid, first thing that I do when I get up is I actually do my bed. That's an everyday thing. It prepares you for life, believe it or
Absolutely.
not. It's the little things in life that you actually plan for and you do on a regular basis that makes you who you are.
I totally agree. And in talking about the bed analogy, I use that all the time when I talk to students and with my own kids too. Because I heard a long time ago, it was a Gerald that talked about like, when you get through a day and you feel like you haven't accomplished anything, if you've made your bed, you've done something. And as insignificant as that may mean to a lot of people, it's like, what the hell does that got to do with anything in life? You've accomplished something, right? You woke up, that was something. You got ready, that was something. And you made your bed. And some people need that. Some people need, a checklist. Checklist is fine. It'll work for everybody. But you can always say, you know what? I made a bed. It's clean. I'm ready for my bed tonight and I can get in it. And it's clean. There's not a lot of dust. It wasn't just sitting there all day long, but you accomplished something. Having a plan will help you as well, because it gets you to accomplish more things more often because you have something that you're working towards.
I have something to add to that actually. And I don't know if you're like this or not, Sean, but whenever we go on vacation or we go on a trip, I'm the type of guy that needs to have the dishes washed, the house clean, and I'm not even waiting for anybody to come visit. I mean, I just do it because it just makes me feel good that I know that when I get back, I'm going to get home and it's going to be a clean home and I'm ready for bed once I get back. Because, we all know that once we go on trips, you miss home. You miss your own bed, right? I mean, no matter how comfortable that bed is on the road, it's not like being in your own bed. So, I mean, it's little things like that you definitely have to plan for and be ready for.
So how can we apply this from a business aspect? So you and I, we have companies, other people are out there too. Maybe some people are working for somebody else, but regardless, how can we put a plan into effect for ourselves and others in our environments?
Exactly. I've been a recruiter for 20 years. As I mentioned in our first intro podcast, being a recruiter, you have to plan. You have to know what you're going to do on a regular basis, what your schedule looks like on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, actually, or even hourly basis. And that's going to be trumped by something else. Something's going to come along that's going to kind of sidetrack you. But the thing is, you have to go right back to where you were and continue it. That's what makes you successful. The planning aspect of it is what's going to get you to the next level. Being prepared, being able to pivot, but come right back and complete your task. That's how you complete your task. That's how you complete your work. That's how you get recognized, whether it's in a professional position, executive position. It's all about completion.
So I know a lot of people aren't keen on calendars. They say, yeah, it's old school. You know, you don't have to look at your calendar all the time. But it is a simple tool. And there's a lot of different tools out there other than the regular typical calendars. But having it available, and even some people go old school even further and use just a notebook and write down, you know, what's going to happen. But
Wait, is that a Rolodex? Is that a Rolodex you're talking about?
You're calling me out, man. I see what you're doing. It's okay. It's all right. No worries. But yes. But the thing is I start my day off when I sit down at my desk, or sometimes even at home before I get to the office. And what do I have going on today? Today we have this podcast schedule. All right. So what do I have to do before that? And what have I got going on after that? And is there any conflict somewhere? Do I need to change? Do I need to pivot, like you said, and maybe cancel a meeting and reschedule it for something else? Is one of my other meetings I know is going to take longer? Is me meeting up with somebody more important? You know, there's priorities, and priorities is where you've got to set your plan. Your plan will help you set your priorities, and your priorities will help you succeed.
That's right. That's right. That's it. That's totally it. You know, and you saying Rolodex, or are you saying, you know, writing it down, taking a picture and all that good stuff, makes me think of the Palm Pilot. Do you remember the Palm Pilot?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, we were so badass when the Palm Pilot came out that we, you know, hey. Now we have smartwatches, smartphones, we got iPads, everything else. We had iPods. Do you remember the iPods?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's little things like that that help you maintain who you are to be able to complete your task, whatever that may be.
And it doesn't matter what piece of technology or no technology that you're using. The point is you got to use something, right?
Exactly.
You got to have something to look forward to as a plan. Some people keep it up here. Some people write it down. Some people keep it on their electronics, and that's fine. But the point is, have a plan. What are you going to do? When you're back in school, when you're ready to take a test. Yeah, I know that some of you, like you, would just go out there and I'm just going to take the damn test, right? No, but for the most part, you still have to prepare for it. And so planning is the preparation of something. And how do you approach that? You know, everybody approaches it differently. You may not need to study. I may need to study. Somebody needs the Cliff Note version. Somebody needs to write it down. And there is some therapy and science behind the writing down piece and connecting it and stuff. But it doesn't matter. We're not here to tell you how to do it, what to do.
Yeah, it's whatever works for you. It's whatever works for you, but definitely plan to succeed.
So planning on succeeding and planning in general, we talked a little bit about here in different situations, but from a recruiting standpoint, if I'm an applicant, what do I need to plan for? I have submitted my resume. I've filled out the little profile thing that I need to do. And now I should be getting a call. I'm done.
You know, if it was that easy, that'd be great. But, you know, even with new technology, it has not sped up the process. It really hasn't. To some degree, it's kind of slowed it down. So you definitely want to make sure that if you do get to the point of interview or even a screen, is ask what the expectations are. So you can plan to study, plan an interview, plan for the questions, to try to go ahead and pass those interviews.
But wait a minute. Isn't the questions the interviewer's responsibility? Why do I need to look at that?
Well, because you want to be prepared. You definitely want to be prepared for those interview questions. I mean, there's nothing wrong with preparation. Again, it's planning. It's being there to be able to go ahead and answer these questions in a professional, sound way.
Awesome. Well, I hope you learned a little bit more about planning, or maybe got some tips somewhere. I'm planning on seeing this guy in a kilt here soon, and I'm going to hold him to it because, that's a plan that I've got in place as of right now.
That's right. And again, we want to thank, or I guess we would say sponsors to some degree, just because they let us be here. But Rendezvous Junction Brewery in Rogers, come visit them if you're in the area. If you're a supplier or vendor visiting Northwest Arkansas, check them out. Really good beer.
But they did let us have this upstairs. It's really nice.
It's really nice. Very spacious. Yeah,
very spacious. It's cool. And the downstairs is cool too. And we can see over here off the balcony of all the pieces that they use to make the stuff. You probably heard it while we're talking to some ear and hissing and stuff like that, that they're going through the process, the growing process. But
That's pretty good music too.
yeah,
Yeah, pretty good music.
Absolutely. Well, good. Well, we hope that we've helped you out some way. Got other topics that we'll be jumping in. And again, this podcast isn't meant to be like other podcasts. We're not crisp and clean like everybody else. And we're okay with that because one, we're amateur. Two, we want to have fun. And three, we just want to talk with you.
Yeah, we're just being down to earth. We're here to be your friend. We're here to go ahead and answer some of the questions you may have. We may not have answers for everything, but at least we'll talk about the topic, talk about the conversation, and go from there.
And I know I just mentioned three things, and it's the 2 Steps Ahead podcast. The third, the fun entertainment, that's just extra.
That's a given. Yeah, that's a given for sure. Absolutely. Cheers to everyone.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you again in the next episode of the 2 Steps Ahead podcast.
See you soon.